Hey everyone! Today we're diving into the hottest drama in the K-pop world right now. A drama involving Korean netizens and international army. A conflict that shows two different sides of the world's biggest fandom. Stay tuned because you don't want to miss this discussion. Oh, and before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell so you won't miss the latest updates about BTS and other K-pop drama. And if you've already subscribed, drop a purple heart emoji in the comment section. Before we dive into the drama, let's first understand why BTS and ARMY are so special and unique. BTS isn't just any ordinary boy band, guys. They are a global phenomenon that has changed the landscape of the world music industry. And behind their success, there's ARMY, which stands for Adorable Representative MC for Youth, a fandom considered one of the strongest and most organized in the world. What's interesting about ARMY is their incredibly diverse composition. They're spread across the globe, from Korea, America, Europe, to Southeast Asia, including Indonesia. And this is what sometimes becomes a source of conflict: differences in cultural perspectives, values, and expectations. Korean ARMY and international ARMY, despite both loving BTS, often have different views on many things. From how BTS members should behave, how they handle controversies, to their career decisions. A recent documentary titled BTS ARMY, Forever We Are Young, that screened at various international film festivals in 2025 shows how complex this fandom's dynamics are. The film features stories of fans from Seoul, Los Angeles, Texas, and Mexico City, showing how ARMY from different parts of the world have different experiences and perspectives. One of the biggest dramas that showed this difference in perspective was about BTS's military service. In South Korea, military service is a sacred obligation for every man aged 18 to 28. But when BTS reached the peak of their global success, a big debate arose. Should they get an exemption? Many Korean netizens believed that BTS, as good Korean citizens, should fulfill their military obligations without exception. Some even felt BTS had already received enough privileges and shouldn't look for excuses to avoid military service. There was a viral comment from a Korean netizen saying, "Our country benefits the most from BTS's success, but why does Korea itself often treat them badly?" However, on the other side, there were also Korean netizens who respected BTS's decision to do military service. In March 2025, a netizen on the Nate Pan forum praised BTS because almost all members enlisted as active duty soldiers, not looking for ways to avoid it with health reasons like other idols. Meanwhile, many international armies were initially shocked and devastated when BTS announced they would do military service. They looked at this from a career and momentum perspective. In 2022, BTS was at the peak of their popularity with 4 of the 10 best-selling digital releases in America. International ARMY argued that BTS's economic and cultural contribution to Korea was enormous. They brought Korean soft power to the entire world. So a military exemption shouldn't be unusual. But interestingly, when all BTS members finally decided to do military service together in 2023, many international armies ended up respecting their decision. They realized this was an extraordinary form of sacrifice, especially Jungkook, who could actually have postponed for 3 more years but chose to enlist earlier so they could reunite with other members in 2025. The next drama that heated up was about alleged privileges during military service. In November 2024, controversy arose when Min Hee-jin claimed that V contacted her at dawn from military camp. This sparked suspicions that V received special treatment. Korean netizens immediately went into an uproar and questioned whether BTS members received special privileges during military service. Some even reported this to the Ministry of Defense. But a plot twist occurred when the Korean Ministry of Defense denied the claim. They explained that V used his phone according to regulations. 1 hour on weekends and holidays in the afternoon, not at dawn. No special treatment was given. International Army immediately became defensive and defended V, saying this was an example of how media and some Korean netizens were too quick to judge without clear facts. Another controversy occurred in June 2025, right before BTS's full reunion after military service. Jimin was scheduled to go to Japan for a high-touch event promoting his Echo album, even though RM, V, Jimin, Jungkook, and Suga would soon be discharged from the military. Some netizens and fans questioned the timing. Will Jimin not be present to welcome the other members? This sparked a debate. Some Korean netizens felt Jimin didn't appreciate the group's reunification moment. Meanwhile, International Army and many other Korean fans defended Jimin, saying he was just fulfilling his professional commitments and had the right to do what he wanted. A netizen commented, "The amount of hate this man receives just for fulfilling his commitments is truly disgusting. He has sacrificed more than most people." This is the most sensitive area that often triggers clashes between Korean netizens and International Army. When RM gave an acceptance speech for the Van Fleet Award recognizing contributions to Korea-US relations, he mentioned history of pain and suffering and referred to two nations, South Korea and the US. Chinese netizens immediately became angry because they felt the comment ignored the sacrifice of Chinese soldiers in the Korean War. Some Chinese companies terminated advertising contracts with BTS. This is where International Army stepped in massively. They flooded social media with English posts defending BTS, explaining historical context from various perspectives, and arguing that there was nothing wrong with RM's statement as a Korean citizen. Korean netizens praised International Army for their detailed fact-checking. One viral comment said, "International Army even studied Korean history for this. They're better than our politicians." In 2018, Jimin wore a shirt commemorating Korea's liberation from Japan. Some parties in Japan criticized this, but International Army immediately mobilized with the hashtag Liberation T-shirt not bomb T-shirt to defend Jimin and educate people about Korean history. The newest and most controversial issue is BTS's stance on Palestine. This split the fandom into two major camps. Some Army, including the ARMI4Palestine group, actively campaigned to boycott HYB and urged BTS to speak about Palestine. They argued that BTS has always voiced messages about humanity and social justice, so they must speak up. But the other camp argued that BTS is not obligated to comment on every political issue, especially when they're in military service. Some even accused the pro-Palestine camp of spreading propaganda and silencing accounts that disagreed. Interestingly, Korean netizens' perspective on this tends to be more neutral. They understand that sensitive international issues like this could impact BTS's career in various countries. This conflict shows a fundamental difference. International Army often sees BTS as global icons who have a platform for social justice, while Korean netizens see them as entertainers and Korean citizens who must be careful with political statements. One of the biggest sources of conflict is differences in cultural expectations. There was a moment when Western media questioned BTS's masculinity because of their makeup and soft appearance. International Army immediately became defensive and said this was a form of toxic masculinity and racism. But for Korean netizens, this wasn't a big issue because beauty and masculinity standards in Korea are indeed different. They focused more on whether BTS brought honor to the nation. An article in Asia News Network discussed this, showing how J-Hope and Jimin, after completing military service, didn't talk about traditional masculinity, but more about personal growth and kindness to others. Korean netizens generally have a better understanding of privacy boundaries because they understand Korean culture. They know when fans cross the line. Meanwhile, some international armies with good intentions sometimes don't realize that their actions could be considered invasive in Korean cultural context. For example, coming to members' homes, following them to private places, etc. Army Underground Project, a controversial website, even created a detailed guide on how to identify anti-fans and how to boycott them. This sparked a huge debate about how far fans can police other fans. International Army is often proud of their activism, from raising $1 million for Black Lives Matter to voter education campaigns. This is seen as an integral part of Army identity. But Korean netizens' perspective is sometimes different. They appreciate good deeds, but they also remind that the first priority is supporting BTS as artists, not making the fandom a political platform. Unfortunately, this Korea versus international conflict sometimes triggers toxic behavior from both sides. The biggest problem is generalization. When some Korean netizens comment negatively, suddenly all Korean fans are considered the same. Vice versa. When some international armies act excessively, all international armies are labeled toxic, when in fact, the majority of fans on both sides just want to support BTS in their own ways. International Army sometimes to quickly cancel anyone deemed not supporting BTS 100%, including fellow armies who have different opinions. Korean netizens themselves have a hate comment culture that is sometimes very cruel, but they also have an understanding of local context that sometimes escapes international army. Many conflicts arise because of translation problems and language differences. Something that sounds okay in Korean can sound offensive in English and vice versa. But it's not all about conflict, guys. There are many beautiful moments when Korean netizens and international army unite. When BTS is attacked from outside, whether it's plagiarism claims, chart manipulation accusations, or racism, Korean netizens and international army always unite to defend them with facts and data. When BTS reaches new milestones, all fans around the world celebrate together regardless of country of origin. When BTS members were discharged from military in June 2025, fans from all over the world came to Korea. RM and V were welcomed by around 200 fans from Mexico, Brazil, and Turkey. This shows how global the love for BTS is. A fan from China who has been ARMY for 8 years said, "I've been waiting a long time for the members to return from the military. I'm glad they completed their military service and are now discharged. I'm really looking forward to their activities in the future." The documentary BTS ARMY. Forever We Are Young screened at South by Southwest Festival 2025 received a standing ovation for successfully showing the beauty of ARMY's diversity, how fans from various backgrounds, cultures, ages, and gender identities unite because of their love for BTS. So what can we learn from this Korean netizens versus international ARMY drama? We must respect that fans from different countries have different perspectives and values. There's no absolutely right or wrong. It's all about context. Don't generalize entire fan groups based on the actions of a few people. Korean fans are not a monolith, and neither are international armies. Many dramas could be avoided if we fact-check first before reacting. The V and Min Hee-jin drama is a perfect example. It turned out there was no privilege happening. At the end of the day, all ARMY, both Korean and international, have one common goal: supporting and loving BTS. The difference in how we express love is a natural thing. Activism is good, but it must be done in a healthy way and not force others to always agree. Fandoms can be a force for good without having to be toxic. BTS is in a very unique and difficult position. They are global superstars, but also Korean citizens. We as fans must respect the complexity of their position and not force them to always speak up about every issue. Guys, the conflict between Korean netizens and international ARMY is actually a reflection of a bigger phenomenon, the globalization of K-pop, and how different cultures interact in the digital era. BTS has opened the door for global conversations about culture, values, and identity. And as the world's biggest fandom, Army has a responsibility to show that diversity is strength, not weakness. Drama will always exist. It's part of the dynamics of a large and passionate fandom. What matters is how we respond to that drama. Do we let it divide us? Or do we use it as an opportunity to learn and grow together? With all BTS members now back from military service and ready for reunion in 2025, this is the perfect moment for all Army, Korean, and international to unite and support their comeback with positive vibes. Because in the end, BTS has always taught us to love ourselves and love others. And that applies to fellow armies too. Okay guys, that's the discussion about Korean netizens versus international army drama. If you have experiences or opinions about this topic, drop them in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video. BTS paved the way, and Army walks it together, regardless of where we're from. Borahi, Purple Heart.